Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. Club Penguin is kill 3 comments share save hide report 99% upvoted. End of story. Next story. My confession 7 comments share save hide report 96% upvoted. End of story. Next story. The Red Cheeto vomit 6 comments share save hide report 96% upvoted. End of story. Next story. A teacher calls me sexist and racist my senior year. My English teacher was an absolute bitch. She was the stereotypical English teacher. Found symbolism in everything. Loved old books. Hated phones, etc. I hated her smug tone. She was always right and made us write essays about the symbols in books. I couldn't find anything because I'm a literal person. I like things to be straightforward and simple. She thought I was just being difficult put of spite. I made it clear I hated her. So she told the school that I was sexist. My dad got called in and we sat down trying to find out if I was sexist. Another female teacher said I was her best student and had no problems with me. So then my English teacher claimed it was racism. I looked at her and said, "You're white." Apparently she was Korean and I had no idea. She didn't look Korean at all. The school took that as proof it wasn't a race. She looked at me. Well, if it's not because I'm a woman or because I'm Korean, then what is it? She gave me a smug look, confident that no could hate her unless it was because of prejudice. I looked at the principal and asked to speak freely. I don't like you as a person. You're pretentious and smug. It has nothing to do your physical appearance. It has to do with your personality. End of story. Next story. Tattooing. I've heard that you should never make the same mistake twice. However, I've made the same mistake about 7,000 consecutive times now. My mistake is that I wake up every day. Now I'm just fucking around. But there are quite a few days where I really shouldn't have left my bed. One such day was when I tattooed a girl. In case you're unaware, tattooing requires that one be at least halfway decent at drawing. Which I am not. You could give me a ruler and I'll draw you a fucking circle. Anywho, a few years back, I was interested in this girl. And she was interested in me. So she decided she wanted me to give her a tattoo. I immediately told her that it was a bad idea. Her friends told her it was a bad idea. It was a bad idea. She didn't listen. That Saturday she picked me up and I once again told her, "This is a bad idea." But she didn't listen. And a teenage boy with the ol' horn wasn't about to disappoint a pretty girl. We get to her house and head down the basement. And the shit show began. She shows me a nice picture she drew of a moon and some stars that she had drawn. I figured it was simple enough for me to draw, so I decided, fuck it, alright. I was wrong. One of the first steps in getting tattooed is having a stencil put on your body that the artist traces, ultimately resulting in a tattoo. This seemed simple enough, so we attempted to put one on her thigh. We fucked that up. Somehow this girl decides it'll be a good idea for me to just do it freehand. At this point we're at the Rubicon and I'm telling Caesar not to cross the river. Caesar doesn't listen. I dip the homemade tattoo gun in some India ink and start going at her thigh. The excess ink gets all over the area I'm supposed to be tattooing, blocking my vision. But I keep on truckin'. At this point the girl realizes the folly of her ways and says, and I quote, "That's enough. You're all over the place." I grab a paper towel and wipe away the ink, revealing my masterpiece. That's no moon. There on this girl's thigh was 75% of what can only be described as a macaroni noodle. I walked home that night and we haven't spoken in a few years. End of story. Next story. Hidden Beauty 4 comments share save hide report 99% upvoted. End of story. Next story. My weird fetish. So, this is gonna sound weird, but I have a hand fetish. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I was just an average kid with big dreams to achieve. One day, my childhood friend Catherine had these gorgeous hands that I couldn't stop looking at them, and they were very appealing to me. I loved it when she puts her hands on me and rubs them in a jokingly way, but it sort of turned me. Like I was raging with such beauty on my horrendous-looking face, but her hands always brought calamity and comfort whenever I saw her hands. Sigh. I guess from that point I always had a thing for hands. No matter what size or color they were, I always loved hands so much to the point I perfected my own. I expected to have at least a foot fetish or thighs, but no, I have a hand fetish. I try to take pictures of the hands I like and store them for safekeeping, but sometimes I jerk off to them. I thought I was abnormal because I didn't like people around me, but I always wanted to just live a quiet and peaceful life. Maybe I was way too quiet than the usual person. I don't really discriminate a girl's hands, whether it's how thick they are or the skin tone. A hand is a hand for me, and I like hands. I don't know if this concerning for me now, but maybe I should just keep this to me. I'm now 15, so maybe I guess people can tell what to do with my fetish. I hope it doesn't stick with me for my whole life, but yeah. End of story. Next story. The 1989 to 2022 diplomatic Cold War is over? Really? I opened Yahoo News this morning and this was on top of world news. Saudi restores full ties with Thailand after diamond dispute. As far as I can remember, this had affected my family and my extended family for decades. Some are still living in Mecca in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The KSA. Because of the diamond incident, Thai diplomats and Thai workers were kicked out from the KSA. And also Saudi diplomats were called back and Saudi tourists were discouraged to visit Thailand. Thai aircrafts were banned from entering Saudi airspace and Saudi aircrafts were effectively banned from entering Thai airspace. Many lives were $* and hashed up. Some are my relatives and people whom I know. And it is all because of one small thief, who is now a full-time Buddhist monk who refuses to return to his family to atone for his numerous sins. This is known as the Blue Diamond Affair over Wikipedia and YouTube. It started with a Thai worker in the KSA, Kriang Krai Tekamong, who stole several jewelry from a Saudi prince, totaling £200 or 91 kilograms, including a supposedly large blue diamond at the size of a chicken egg. 3 Saudi investigators in Thailand were killed and 1 went missing. 5 Thai policemen were accused of assassinating a key Thai witness and his family. Entire embassies became empty embassies, having the status of chargé d'affaires, of which diplomats operate without an ambassador and without a consul, without proper adequate representation, of which visas were delayed or simply cancelled suddenly from both sides. Basically, the governments of the KSA and Thailand stopped speaking to each other in public for over 30 years. 1989 to 2022. The small thief, Kriang Krai Tekamong, served the total of 5 years in Thai prisons, and he had received so much hate and anger from both sides that he decided to become a Buddhist monk, refusing to return or see his family in an effort to atone for his sins, and supposedly to reverse his bad karma. Much of the jewelry were not found and much of the jewelry found were fake. And the alleged blue diamond had become part of the popular culture whether it really existed or not. On YouTube, You can find out more about the Blue Diamond affair at https://u2.be/vzttl_jock. Added today. The local Thai news are boasting that negotiations to remedy the relationship between the two countries started 6 years earlier. Today, members of the Thai cabinet will be leaving to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to improve relations. With a direct flight from Bangkok to Riyadh, for the first time in 30 years. Both the official visit and the direct flight. Let's hope it goes well. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.